Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome. On this NFL Week 2 kickoff Thursday, September 12th, 2024, this program starts now. Football is amazing as we enter a Week 3 for college football. That's going to have storylines continue to develop, big-time upsets in magical football on Saturday. Then Sunday's slate is going to be packed to the gills with greatness. Then Monday Night Football is going to close the door on another football weekend in fantastic fashion. But tonight on Prime, the Bills and Dolphins will do battle down in Miami as the Dolphins are 3-point favorites or 2.5-point favorites, depending upon which book you look at. ESPN bet it is currently 3-point favorites, and there are some stats coming out about what Josh Allen has been able to do against the Miami Dolphins. He is 11-2, I guess, in his run against the Miami Dolphins. Now, if we do recall, there was that freak-out moment after a Miami game where Josh threw the ball short. Offensive coordinator lost his mind on the camera. So that was one of the games. Other than that, Josh has had massive success against the Miami Dolphins. Does that change this evening, or do the Buffalo Bills now continue to run wild all over the AFC East? Can't wait to chat about it all. Kirk Herbstreit will join us in the next hour. He's obviously on the call this evening alongside Al Michaels and the entire Thursday Night Football crew, who we are massive fans of. We'll also be joined by Michael Lombardi in about 19 minutes or so. Former Paisan GM, now a man who has more football knowledge than any of us. Can't wait to hear his thoughts on how it's all going to go down, not only tonight, but throughout the entirety of the weekend. I'll be live from South Carolina's football field tomorrow. AJ Hawk will be live from this particular set, but we can't thank everybody enough for allowing us to do this for a living. The fact that we get to talk about football in football season right now makes every day waking up just a little bit brighter and a little bit better. Truly. Week 2 of the NFL season kicks off, and this hour is brought to you by Ram Truck.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Ram Truck. We'll be announcing next week a massive contest that we're going to do throughout the entirety of the season around high school football and Ram Trucks. I think people are going to be pretty zeked up about it, and also we're going to be able to showcase what's happening on Friday Night Lights throughout the season. We can't wait for all of it. Thank you to Ram for joining the party and for fantastic trucks.
Unbelievable.
Best in the biz.
Great trucks.
You're talking about quick.
What?
Durable.
What?
Tough.
What?
Which I think is the same. Is durable and tough the same?
No, because you can be tough and then you can get hurt all the time.
Well, it's not just quick, too. It's also fast. We got 700 horsepower.
Powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Towing capacity.
Oh, you've seemingly had a little pep in your step this morning. You think that although Josh Allen has absolutely demolished the dreams of Dolphins fans since he got into the league, you think tonight's a little bit different, Gumpy, it feels like?
Yeah, if you go back, remember the last time he played in the Heat in Miami early in the season, that was the time the Dolphins beat them. I think we're better than them this year. I think our roster's better. I think we can pound the rock. And I don't think their defense is as good as it has been in years past.
Okay, so you think Dolphins win tonight? You think cover 3 no matter what?
Absolutely. Love the Fins tonight.
Would you normally say that, though, because you're just a Dolphins mark and would be blindly optimistic?
I'm usually pretty honest about the Fins if I don't think they're going to win. I believe.
I believe that.
I'd believe.
Absolutely.
I would find that to be true.
I believe that.
However, on the other.
I believe that they
will win.
I believe that they will win.
I believe that they will win. I believe that they will win. I believe that they will win.
Not everybody thinks that, though.
They're starting to, this replay assist, replays expanding. Will it ever get to where Belichick wanted it to get to, where we could challenge everything? I don't know. Time will tell.
Hey, we've wanted this replay assist thing since we saw, I think since we saw football happen, but also with the XFL, how easy they were able to kind of overturn things.
Yeah.
The fact that the NFL is letting this happen, good for football time. We've wanted this for a long time.
Yeah, without a doubt. And especially when they're talking the Hawkeye technology, and we thought that might be kind of like the next iteration of that. But then we saw how long that took. Like, this is exactly what needs to happen in these situations, especially in the fourth quarter. Like, you watch that play, and Pat, you always talk about how they put the replay up in the stadium immediately, and everyone in the stadium, and then most of the people who are watching the game live and on the internet, they're all in agreement, like, hey, that's not a penalty. Pretty easy, okay? Like, it should be a bang-bang decision. Let's overturn this and keep playing and move this on very quickly. So if we can have these situations where they don't have to take 3 to 4 minutes in the fourth quarter when it's seemingly a very obvious call, like this is massive, and hopefully this is the kind of thing where the refs aren't. I mean, I don't know. Are the refs the one asking for the replay assist?
I think they dropped in the ear
They just
there.
go right in,
They just get right in their ear.
which is huge.
Huge. Because then the pride, ego of on-field refs isn't being, like the head ref isn't looking at one of his refs and saying, I don't believe you, and then going, because that's bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
That's not good for their relationship, chemistry, team chemistry either. So for them just to jump in there and kind of fix it in real time. And also, there was a...
Oh, yeah.
So for them saying that's not a penalty, that's good for football.
Huge.
No head and neck.
Yeah, but it was like to a quarterback. I think last
Cover the
5
body.
years.
Yeah, forcible blow. Some could say, yeah, maybe, but I love it.
But the league is actually coming in and saying, nah, that's not a penalty. That is not a penalty. We're going to continue to play football right there. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because that would have been called 10 times out of 10 in the past. It was called right there, and they weren't able to fix it. Now the league's able to come in and say, we're able to do that. It protects the refs on the field more than anybody else, I think. Because to your point, Ty, about what we've always chatted about, it's like we all know the right answer. But these refs aren't even allowed to look at the jump, not even allowed to know if they were right or wrong. If they're caught looking at the Jumbotron and reacting, they get fired or made fun of on the internet. So literally everybody's allowed to use 4K. Everybody's allowed to use super slow motion. Everybody's allowed to zoom in on the exact thing. But the refs on the field are only allowed to use their eyes in real time and have to make the decision.
The QB play in week 1 was pretty pedestrian across the entire league. And I know rookies are a little bit different, but like all of those guys basically, under 3 yards per completion, which I know is something you harp on. Do you think we're expecting a big bounce back for QBs in week 2, or do you still think it's going to take a little bit because so many of these guys don't play at all during the preseason?
I think so many of them don't play. I think the rhythm in the passing game is really bad. I think when you look at it, we only had 2 quarterbacks who threw the ball for over 300 yards. Both of them didn't cover the spread. I think the passing games were behind. And these offensive line play is struggling too, because remember, not only did the quarterbacks not play, a lot of teams didn't play their offensive linemen. And so now all of a sudden protection breaks down and it became harder, and third down becomes harder to convert. I think you've got to get better play out of your quarterback. I mean, Arizona, look, they go into Buffalo. Kyler Murray averaged 5.5 yards attempt. That's not good enough to win. It couldn't get the ball to Marvin Harrison. So I don't think it was as much the defense as it was the lack of execution. As you go through all the single games and you start watching this, and there's going to be a jump. You're going to see a jump from week 1 to week 2 where the quarterbacks finally have played and they're going to get better. Will Kirk Cousins improve? Or is it really his Achilles because you didn't look like he could drive the ball? You hope he can improve because you want him to be healthy. But to me, that's been the issue, and I think that's going to continue. But this line play's got to get better. The line play. Look, Cincinnati couldn't block. They couldn't block Kenyon White in that game. He had 2.5 sacks. He was dominant in there. They became a problem. And that you can't throw the ball when your quarterback's on his back.
Yeah, out of Florida State, obviously an absolute beast, seemingly from day one. You talk about the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins. How many pressures was it the Pittsburgh Steelers had?
They had it was like 48% of his dropbacks or something like that.
And TJ Watt had
Well, they acted like they didn't know he was going to be at the game. They acted like he wasn't going to be there. I don't know what Atlanta was thinking. Obviously, they thought TJ was off this week. I guess they missed that memo. He wasn't. Look, if I'm coaching Atlanta, I'm not letting McCrary block him. Look at that. That's coaching malpractice right there. You can't block. This guy is the top player in the league. You set up an edge.
Go back to that first play there. Go back to that first play there because I don't think it's 12 seconds too. This is the game. This is the game.
Yeah, he's coming around the edge. You don't have any way to help him.
No chip, no back.
None. 1-on-1.
No chip.
That is the game.
Look, I've said this all summer, and if you listen to my pod or my show, Atlanta's offensive line is a run-blocking, play-action pass line. They're not a drop-back pass. When they have to throw it in that, I know they get high grades from all these services and all that crap, but their offensive linemen are set up for play action. But you can't do that. You can't allow – nobody's blocking T.J. Watt one-on-one. I promise you this. I know Sean Payton well enough to know that he's not going to do this. He's just not. He went into his office on Tuesday and he told the offensive staff, we're not letting T.J. Watt beat us today.
I would like to reiterate what everybody has said about Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley was head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars whenever we were playing against them, and I did not know him that well. I don't know if he knew of my Twitter account or what it was, but every game, warm-ups would come over to me and I don't want to say full conversation, but pretty much full conversation. No reason to do that with me. He's always been incredibly kind. Then he gets to Indianapolis. Everybody likes him. But I didn't know they were 28th last year and the year before that. He's been here for a good bit. We've invested a lot of money on the defensive side of the ball.
I think more and more people are using what they did against Kansas City a couple years ago with Mahomes, putting that too high shell and making these quarterbacks be patient, making these pass games that we've seen be prolific for years run the football, check it down underneath, not give up those big explosive plays. And I think that's no longer just a Patrick Mahomes thing. I think that's an NFL league-wide thing. And I think what's happening is the game is cyclical. So I think now it's going to go back to more at the line of scrimmage, making teams have to get out of that too high shell, run the football, get that safety down. Now you get single high, and then now you can take your shots downfield. But I think you're seeing that. I think you'll see it again tonight. I think teams are concerned. If you're going up against all the speed from Miami, you'd be crazy to play too much man or play a lot of single high. So I think you'll see Buffalo with a lot of new secondary pieces, by the way. I think they'll be smart. They'll play shell, keep everything in front to the best of their ability. You got to tackle. Tyreek Hill in space is tough to tackle, but you do just got to try to keep it in front. Then it comes down to red zone execution. If teams in the red zone, if they can punch it in. Now this is a rare moment last week. One play, 80-yard drive, where he got out and made a big play. But for the most part, they did a pretty good job. Jacksonville did a pretty good job of being able to prevent those big plays and held them to 20 points. That's a pretty good effort.
Hey, we just saw your game card. That thing's legendary.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, you don't have to show your exact notes. I don't know if we can make it blurry, but just know that this dude takes so many notes. So many notes. It never stops.
Well prepared.
With the notes.
Well, I talk to a lot of people. I talk to the coordinators.
No. But what I'm saying is, you never use them though. He takes all these notes.
No.
He takes all these notes. I've seen you in there, and he never looks down at it. But he feels obligated to do it at this point, like 20 years into this thing.
Oregon's 2-0, but they have dropped to almost out of the top 10 after a close win to Idaho and Boise, and Genty ran for almost 200 last week against Oregon. Gabriel's got good stats, but it looks like they're lacking explosive. Their O-line hasn't been as good as in the past. What's your level of concern for Oregon? Or do they have enough time to get it right before Ohio State comes to town?
Yeah, I think Tone, they definitely have enough time to get it right. I don't know. Bo Nix meant so much to that team. You can never underestimate what a great leader can mean to a football team's focus. And there's been so much preseason hype with Oregon. I'm sure Dan Lanning is doing his best to get these guys to lock in, to respect the opponent. Boise's a dangerous team anytime you play them. But they don't look like they have the same fight that they had last year. It's only 2 games, but I think they should stop listening and reading their press clippings and get focused on work, because remember when they played Nebraska early in the year last year, and Dan got some negative press from some people, not us, but some people, because he said they're about clicks and we're about, whatever he said. We're about
Colorado, not Nebraska.
Colorado. Yeah, Colorado. I apologize.
Oh, good.
They're about clicks and we're about hitting people, kind of thing. Yeah. And I just thought that's who they were. They kind of played with a chip on their shoulder all year long. They couldn't get it done against Washington twice, but they had a bit of a nastiness about them. I haven't seen that yet from this team in these first 2 games. They look like they're more about, hey, we'll turn it on when we get to whoever, and that'll eventually catch up to them unless they get this thing turned around. They have the ability. They can win as many games as they want, but they got to get their mind right.